have to kick it live here from the stream, we'll be quite a bit behind. So if we're talking about a lock-in that has already happened, apologies for that, but really, Pulse, there's not a great deal we can do.
Yes, indeed, apart from being profits, but that's not really an option at the moment. So, Kassadin will be banned out along with Shyvana, which I believe have been very consistent bans during this series. Be interesting to see what they ban out this time, because in the first game, if you remember metas, Orianna and Gragas were banned. Last game, Orianna was picked, did incredibly well. Elise has been banned out, and that was a massive issue for them in the last game. Targeted bans, of course, against Impaler.
Yep, I think I'm pretty far behind you here, Paul, so I'm probably going to edge more towards you calling the picks and bans, and we can just talk about them, because Elise still hasn't been banned for me, which is quite scary. So I'm just going to go ahead and refresh my stream, but as you say, Kassadin and Shyvana have been consistent bans throughout this best of 3.
Yes, indeed. Nidalee has also been banned out, again, caused them a lot of issues in the first game, I believe, so just making sure that they ban out all of these picks which caused them issues during this series. Again, we'll leave some other picks open, some blanket picks that we see so often in these recent games that we've been seeing. Gragas being banned out as well, very similar to the first game.
So do you think it could be a possibility that SK are not banning Orianna out to first pick it themselves?
It's very possible. However, with SK being blue side, then they have the first pick. They might want to go with the Orianna. They have other picks available to them. They've been prioritizing other picks in the past. We'll see if they leave it open. Dignitas could definitely go with that. They could play it in that way, but that's why they're taking so long deciding whether they want to ban it out or not, because it's a huge risk. In fact, yeah, they ban out the Orianna. They can't take that risk.
Yeah, definitely. So that's going to allow SK to pick it up, but that is going to leave Renekton open, and they just instantly lock that one in at top lane.
Yep, and Renekton is a very solid top laner. He doesn't really have any bad matchups against any of the common top lanes at the moment, and even those that he does, he can still do very well against them. There's a lot of room for outplaying people on Renekton. He's just a very solid champion in general. Waiting to see what Dignitas bring out in return though. Lots of their staple picks have been banned out. Oh, Lee Sin has been hovered over, another highly contested pick.
Yep, and that would be a direct pick against Svenskeren, who's played at both games. First game had a brilliant one, just camping top lane, as we said, and really forcing Nitrix out of it. So would not surprise me if they do go for the Lee Sin and force Svenskeren to pick something else.
Yes, indeed. And, well, we know that Impaler has a pretty large champion pool when it comes to the jungle, so just the fact that they can pick up the Lee Sin means that they can take that away from Svenskeren, as you mentioned previously, but they are going for multiple swap-ups, so we'll see what they bring out eventually. I would be surprised if they brought out the Veigar, and in fact, it will be the Caitlyn and also the Lee Sin, so very conservative pickups, but also taking that away from Svenskeren.
Makes a lot of sense. So Samwise is very comfortable on the Caitlyn pick, and again, as he said, Lee Sin means that Svenskeren will have to go with something different in the jungle. With Elise being banned out plus the Shyvana, that is going to limit his champion pool somewhat. We have seen him running champions like Nunu in the past, but that was when Nunu had the changes, if you remember way back, Pulse, where pretty much everyone was playing Nunu for a couple of weeks. I'm not expecting to see that one coming in. That being said though, Jinx is being hovered over potentially by SK Gaming. That would be an interesting lock-in. It has been locked in here.
Yeah, that could definitely work against Caitlyn. It's kind of the same principle as Tristana. She will eventually get to a point where she has equal and greater range than Caitlyn, so will be also equally as safe when it gets to team fight. Laning phase isn't that bad as well. Jinx doesn't have that many bad matchups, honestly, if you pair her with the right support. I'm not going to say off the bat that Zarya is going to be the support, but would definitely work with Jinx. Having 2 snares, and if one of those snares lands, the other one is definitely going to as well. And plus, they don't get intercepted by minions, so if you get hit by Flame Chompers, you immediately get hit by Grassing Roots, and vice versa. It's very annoying to play against, but again, could be in the mid lane.
It could indeed, but as you say, it would be a marvellously strong bot lane if they do go for this, because you land one and suddenly you land a flurry of damage from those two. Fiddlesticks has been locked in again here for support, so Fiddle Caitlyn duo again, and interestingly enough, they've gone for the Vlad top on Nitrix. That's not something I've seen him playing a great deal.
Yeah, over the last couple of games, it's really been down to the top lanes to make sure that they won't die early, because with the first game, SK went for the lane swap up, and we saw Nitrix in a horrible position. This time, again, another pick, which should be even better in that 3 versus 1 scenario underneath the turret. Last time we saw Jax. He could have gone for Jax again, but it's still reliant on doing very well, and it takes a while to get going. Whereas Vladimir, yes, it's the same kind of principle, but Sanguine Pool makes, again, him very, very difficult to dive, no matter what the situation is. And against Renekton, doesn't do too badly at all.
So they are opting for their final picks here. It's going to be looking like Riven and Vi. So you're going to get your Vi again, Pulse, in the jungle. Quite an interesting lock-in. For Dignitas UK, judging from their picks thus far, I would expect to see it being their mid laner that is going to be locked in last.
Yeah, Vladimir can also swap into the mid lane depending on the matchups, and now we see Riven coming out as well. Don't really want to pick Riven, well, don't really want to pick Vlad against Riven. They're probably going to try and steer away from that matchup. And Vi in jungle, again, looking to be very aggressive in the early game. Renekton definitely helps for that. And now that we know that Riven's been locked in, we'll know that Zyra is in the bot lane. These are some very, very nice gank lanes, and even though you have the Lee Sin, he's not going to be able to instigate these ganks. He's going to have to go for counter ganks. He won't be able to gank the top lane of Vladimir. Bot lane will be okay with Fiddlesticks, but I think most of this game is going to be spent with Impaler trying to react to Svenskeren.
Very true, and interesting as well to look at the side of SK Gaming. It's predominantly AD focused. You know, Renekton, Jinx, Vi, and Riven. They do a bit of magic damage in there with, obviously Vi does a tiny bit, and also Zyra, but what are your thoughts there? It's quite interesting to see.
Yeah, it's heavily AD focused. They have a little bit coming in from Zyra, but it's not going to be massive. They're like a very heavy snowball composition. If they get ahead early, and this definitely suits their playstyle from what we've seen so far in this series metas, they could end the game again in another 20-minute victory. And on the opposing team of Dignitas, Kayle comes in, which again could be top lane or mid lane, most likely going to be in the mid lane, so they're going for a more AP focused team, which again lends itself towards the mid game. So I think this game is very unlikely to go on longer than 30 minutes.
Well, if the other two games are anything to go by as well, Pulse, that will indeed be the case. But we're going to cut to a quick commercial break while we have the 3-minute delay ticking down. When you rejoin us, you'll be ready to go live with us for the third and final game between SK Gaming and Dignitas UK in the semi-finals here of the US Challenger Series number 15. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to EUS Challenger Series number 15 with SK Gaming and Dignitas UK. I am Pulse and I'm joined by Metas. How's it going, man? How do you think this game is going to work out?
I'm doing great. This is the semi-finals, the third and final game between these two big, epic behemoths of teams, and honestly, it's a very tough one for me to call right now. I think overall, similar compositions in terms of skill, similar compositions in terms of potential team fight presence, so it's going to come down to skill, it's going to come down to execution. It's a very tough one to call for me, Pulse.
Yeah, Dignitas are being very aggressive because they need the early vision, because it's very likely they might go for a lane swap up. By picking Vladimir, that's almost like saying, well, we can go for a lane swap up because I can 1 versus 2 very easily, and especially when we were talking about this bottom lane of Jinx and Zyra, and also Caitlyn and Fiddlesticks, it's very much a skill matchup. I don't think either of those lanes have a massive advantage. If there is a small advantage, it would probably go to Jinx and Zyra because it's easy for them to engage and very easy for them to disengage. But at the same time, you might have Vladimir going into the bottom lane 1 versus 2, then have them swap up into the top lane, and then you don't have that skill matchup, and they can slightly swing it in their favour. And in fact, that's exactly what they're going to be doing, getting that early vision and knowing where everyone's going to be starting up.
Yes, and also, if it is going to be that duo lane that we were talking about before, though, it doesn't look likely, as Dignitas UK are pushing top with Samwise and Yero, but had it have been that 2 versus 2, Yero taking Exhaust against the Nif's Ignite is a really smart pickup for me, Paul. So the reason being, it's a predominantly AD comp-centric SK Gaming team that they're against, and Exhaust typically works very well against these. You just stick an Exhaust on the likes of Jinx, Vi, or Renekton or Riven, and it just punctures through all of their damage. They're nowhere near as dangerous. Whereas Ignite obviously is a big threat, it's going to do a lot of damage, but it doesn't mitigate, it doesn't negate any of the damage that's coming at you.
Okay, so Dignitas are in a very good position where all their lanes have the kind of early game and inherent advantages innately. Impala's going to have to act reactively towards Vi, because she's going to be looking to go for a lot of ganks. Her lanes are very easy to gank as well, and Lee Sin will have to try and work around that. He's actually opting to go into the bot lane to make sure Vlad gets the first couple of levels. He'll probably like duo lane for him just for a little bit, because he can't gank for Vladimir. That's probably not going to happen, especially with the disengage they have. Jesus is not having a good time in mid lane though. It's very likely Vi will look for the early game gank.
Yeah, the Ex-Alchemist simply has the sustained damage and also the range with the Righteous Fury up, which of course will increase the range of your auto attacks as Kayle. So this is a pretty brutal lane for Jez's at the moment. As you say, that could indicate that Vi is going to camp mid. Ignite has been used, actually forcing the flash away from the Ex-Alchemist, who wanted to play no part in that engage. Comes back again, firing up the Key Reckoning, and will pull Jez's back towards his own tower.
Yeah, Svenskeren looping around the mid lane. I wouldn't be surprised if he still looked for it, because with Valor, Jez's will still be exceptionally tanky, and will probably put DX Alchemist off, especially on low mana. This will be very nasty indeed, as the Vault Breaker is being charged up.
It will, and the flash is on cooldown for DX Alchemist, but it's way too fast with the Divine Blessings. Not only a heal, but will increase your movement speed as well by 18% for 3 seconds. So very difficult to gank if you have the mana as Kayle.
Yeah, Impala looking for the counter gank just in case Vi comes back in. Jez is going to go ahead and back off, however. And in the top lane, Yero and Samwise are pushing. Let's see how the top laners and indeed solo laners are doing. 7 CS to 7 CS, but the minion waves coming in from both of these players not in awful shape. Samwise has slightly better pushing potential, as we can already see on the tower. Svenskeren looking for the gank, but no ultimate just yet. Just means he's going to help out Freddy in his early laning.
What I would say is, even though Renekton does have a few CS advantage, if you have a look at the hit points of the towers in question, Freddy's in a much worse position. Below half hit points for him on his tower, whereas Vlad, very nearly full. Flashing up here, Vi is going to be under a lot of presence from Impala, will however be able to back on away.
Yeah, very good call and very good knowledge of how strong he is. Landed the Q. Thought we were going to see some Lee Syndrome, where he just went all the way, but didn't really have the backup there, Metas, to make that happen. That will mean that 3 versus none will result in the top tower falling very quickly in this early game to Dignitas.
Lee Syndrome.
Lee Syndrome.
Brilliant. I just need to catch my breath a tiny bit there. I was laughing pretty hard. But regardless, the Ex-Alchemist is going to force away Jez's in mid again. And with Freddy having to go back to spawn, that's allowed them to take down that first tower of the game in Dignitas UK's favour. So rinse and repeating for game number 2.
Yeah, the big question is how fast can Dignitas rotate and make sure their duo lane swaps back into the bot lane? And the question is fairly slowly. They're actually not going for that play, which is interesting, but the knowledge that the tower is basically full HP and Nitrix still has amazing wave play, even though he's being battered down, doesn't mean that they're against the clock. They can just push out the wave, play it safe, in fact get more minions than they would usually, back off, have the duo lane go into the bot lane, and then they'll still maintain that advantage. And it doesn't look like SK can do anything about that in the short term.
Very good point there. But it's going to be difficult because Nitrix is taking a lot of harassment from Candy Panda and Nif. That being said though, with that first tower being taken, Fiddlesticks and Caitlyn coming down to bot lane, Vlad's going to be recalling, and they should be a-okay to keep this tower alive, which is only around 50% hit points. So good job here from Dignitas UK. This lane switch up that they instigated has come out and been a big success.
Yeah, and that's a tower that should stay up, and an advantage that will be maintained for a very long time indeed, until the Dragon fight comes in, and Candy Panda has been locked up by the Terrify. Can they make something happen? Is all reliant on the skill shots, and in fact, Sonic Wave will miss.
Yeah, lots of slows being put down from Nif though with the plants, so it was difficult to get in position from Lee Sin. He wants to fire off the Sonic Wave and Resonating Strike to follow up with, but if you plant down the plants right in front of him, it's very difficult for him to get past them and to make big plays. Nitrix now's rejoined top lane, and he's just getting some free farm underneath the tower, so he's going to be just fine.
Yeah, Freddy is pushing up behind the tower. I would say this is an unnecessary risk. It's usually because you can push so hard and it draws pressure from the opposing jungler, which they will be doing. Svenskeren is still in the top jungle, but it also helps because some lanes find it very difficult to CS underneath the turret. Vladimir is definitely not one of them, but by pushing past the tower, they don't have vision of him, and they will be stealing away this red buff. Doesn't look like Impaler can respond in kind. In fact, looks like he's going to attempt that, but he has been warded.
He has, but Ping's coming down to mid lane, so it looks like Svenskeren's thinking about a gank. There is going to be a ward here, so he's going to walk on top of that, and DX Alchemist Flash is still unavailable for the next 20 or 30 seconds or so. So, right timing here from SK Gaming, but not quite the right place. Jesus has found Impaler, however, in the jungle, going to be ward across. And using that safeguard, Impaler's been caught out now from Svenskeren as Jinx will be picking up the kill on the support of Dignitas UK. Big engage on Impaler. He's going to be falling down to the Assault and Battery and the last auto attack. So both red buffs now reside on SK Gaming, who've turned this one nicely in their favour.
Yeah, that worked out so well, and that was all down to that ward in the mid lane, in that South River. And all of a sudden, this has just turned back on its head. Yes, well, in fact, we do have the Jinx rocket coming across. It picks up the blue buff.
Stealing it with style, and that
all the way from base.
From spawn as well. So Candy Panda, take a bow. The most deserved blue buff I've seen in a while. Yeah.
That was an absolutely amazing steal, because it doesn't actually hit minions, it passes through minions and creatures, so you have to hit a champion and then have the AoE damage pick it up, which is only 80% of the rest of the damage. So very well played by Candy Panda, picking up the blue buff. I mean, Jinx isn't necessarily one of those champions that leads it, but it will be denying it from the mid lane as Nitrix is being doped by Freddy122.
He is, but the Hemo Plague is going to be... In fact, it wasn't used, apologies. That's just the animation from the Dominus. If you look at that, it actually looks like it has Hemo Plague on him. But regardless, yeah. Freddy is going to back on away and be okay. Nitrix is pretty low, but with a transfusion being spammable here, should be just fine. Plus the fact that this creep wave has just disintegrated for an Ecton. It's not going to be taking down this tower anytime soon. Yeah,
like Dignitas still have a slight advantage in the sense that they still have that tower down at the top lane. It means they could cycle the Vladimir down for the Drake if they wanted to go for it, but not if they get caught in the bot lane.
Lots of damage on Samwise. Terrify comes in from Yerrow though, which will alleviate the pressure onto Caitlyn, and they will be okay. But still, as you said, lots of damage being put down there, pretty much for free.
Yeah, and this is what we were talking about in his bottom lane matchup. It's very easy to aggress onto that Dignitas lane. If they put 1 foot wrong, if they get caught by one piece of CC, they'll get caught by the rest of it! Oh, the damage! It's very easy to underestimate that rocket.
The Super Mega Death Rocket living up to its name once again, as Caitlyn will be taken. And that's all a domino effect from that previous catch that Zyra got onto the Samwise. And, you know, as a result, they managed to pick up the pieces at a later stage. They're going to take down the tower as well, so evening it back up to a 1-1. And Dignitas UK, they got the first advantages with getting that lane switch up in their favour, taking down the tower, then switching up. But since then, it's been one-way traffic for SK Gaming, with off the result of taking down Caitlyn, could very well be trying to pick up this free Drake as well. What I would say though is Impaler's in prime positioning, the ex-Alchemist round from the side, grasping roots very nearly landing, not able to do anything as a result though.
Yeah, this is a very straightforward decision from SK, but they've got to be careful. Impaler lands the Q. They'll probably just wait for a second. In fact, he's put down the wood. He's still looking for the still to happen.
He is. Impaler's going to be taken out though. Ace in the hole comes through, and the Ignite as well. Dragon has been picked up from SK Gaming, so again, they come out ahead. Zap lands on the ex-Alchemist, forced to flash away out of the ultimate courtesy of Jazzes. Will manage to escape, but again, another objective and a kill going down. Now at top lane, Nitrix under a lot of presence, I should say, from Freddy. Will be going into his pool and backing away to the tower.
It's usually worth it as the jungler just to basically forfeit your life in an attempt to steal the dragon. If you get it, great. If not, you've lost a single kill. But that was probably not the right call, with the knowledge that another 4 people will still be able to push down the mid lane. 4 versus 3, even if they cycled the bot lane into the mid lane, it wouldn't have been enough. Now Impaler comes back in, but they're going to do some serious damage to this turret.
Yeah, Dignitas UK probably trying to repress some of those memories after game 1, but it's going the same way here. Q has landed from Impaler, doesn't want to jump on this, safeguarding to his mid laner instead of DX Alchemist. He does have the intervention up and available, but you don't want to be burning that for no good cause. So Impaler's going to be cancelling away Jez's recall and just keeping up some more farm.
Didn't work out terribly. Dignitas made a very smart call to go bot lane, pick up a turret. They won't be able to do too much damage to the second one as Jinx is already coming into the bot lane and Vi has already recalled to base, but at least it's going to exert some pressure and make sure that they can't continue the push down in mid lane. Renekton though, heading around the backside, not sure if he was seen by that ward. The answer is a definite no, is in fact in that brush. This could be nasty for Dignitas.
It could, he's actually flashed on top of the ex-Alchemist, but as I said before, intervention available will be keeping some of that damage away. However, Freddy is chasing this one down with the Ignite ticking as well onto Kale. Well, we'll pick that kill up and the ultimate's down, so big plays coming out here from SK Gaming again.
This is still a much closer game than both of the games we've seen previously, Metas, and it still could go either way, but this 5-0 advantage to SK doesn't look like it's going to fall anytime soon. Dignitas still a very dynamic team, give them 1 advantage and they'll take another 10. But can they actually make those plays happen? That is the question. Do they have the tools in their arsenal? Probably not, honestly, until we get later into the game. Vladimir scales very well, so does Caitlyn, but Impaler hasn't had the best of starts.
And indeed, Kale does as well. Kale is a playmaking champion in teamfights. You can just mitigate all the damage. Van Skeren has been caught out of position after taking that red buff away from Impaler. But I don't know if they've got enough follow-up damage. Here comes a Crow Storm though from Yarrow looking to push this one back. This could be the moment when they strike because the dual lane is at bot right now for SK Gaming. So this is a 4 versus 2 situation. Flash from Impaler. Jess is trying his best to use that hypermobile champion of Riven to escape this onslaught. Will pick up the kill. Beautiful from Jez's and escape as well. Oh my goodness, I don't think that Impaler was expecting that burst.
Unbelievable burst damage coming in from Jez's and picks up a kill in return. 6-0. Freddy comes in for the action.
He does, gets terrified instantly from Yarrow, who's now trying his best to back on away right now. They've not picked up a kill, looking to change that here. Samwise has been caught. Stranglethorns knocking the ex-Alchemist into the air, who used intervention on himself, not on his AD carry. Emo play goes down. Sven Skeren should be falling as a result. Reckoning goes in to pick up the pieces. Do they have enough damage, either team, to push back? No is the answer. Although Freddy is going ham right now, chasing after Yarrow, gets terrified, and that should be the support of Dignitas being fine. But in amongst all that action, Jinx actually pushed bot super hard on the 2nd tier tower.
Yeah, that was a 1-for-1 trade, but as you said, it distracted them long enough for Jinx to get some pushing done in the bot lane. Alchemist also comes in, but they should be able to clear this up. Lands the zap, does a surprising amount of damage. Impaler still follows up, Flame Chompers comes through, and the Dragon Rage backwards.
Yep, Candy Pan in not in a good position. His ultimate does miss as well. Zap comes through again, but he's going to be flashing through that wall. And had the cavalry coming in from both Nif and Jez's. So again, so close yet so far from Dignitas UK, looking for those kills. I'm still in a bit of shock at that play before from Jez's. How did he manage to escape that?
Yeah, indeed. Good knowledge of his champion and how much damage he can deal is the answer. In the jungle, again, another advantage has been picked up by SK as they steal away the blue buff. And I don't think Alchemist has actually had a blue buff this game. The last one was stolen away by the Rocket. This one's also been picked up. He's not a very happy Kale.
Yeah, Candy Panda made it splash earlier with the hyper Super Mega Death Rocket. For some reason, I keep thinking of Urgot's ultimate, the Hyperkinetic Position Reverser. I don't know why. I'm strange like that. But yeah, as you say, no blue buffs thus far, and it's definitely affecting the Ex-Alchemist in many, many ways, because Kayle desperately needs that blue. You look at the items, 85 CS at 15 minutes with just the 1 kill is looking bare bones. Just the Seeker's Arm Guard and Fiendish Codex, it's not looking too good.
Even though SK are doing very well, this is a point we were talking about in the break, they can itemize armor very efficiently. It's actually a point that Jack brought up yesterday against a very similar composition. You could go for Zhonya's on both of your AP carries, but not if you fall too far behind. It's not going to matter if you don't have the money to itemize at all.
Yep, I thought we were going to have some action kicking off here around the Dragon Pit, or Blue Buff as it was just a few moments previously, but not going to be the case. Both top laners are still on an island, with Nitrix still holding off the invaders of Freddy. So that tower is still standing tall and proud. Svenskeren and Nif are coming back in again, but they're on top of a ward, having oracles however, so they're going to clear that one away and back off. And you can almost feel the tension in this game now. Lots of pings coming down on towards Freddy. They're going to try a play. They're encircling on Dignitas UK. Here comes Impaler, going to be cocooning I should say coconutting across the Samwise, who's now going to be going down from the burst damage of Jez's. So again, a free pickup. Dignitas UK in all sorts of trouble.
Yeah, and that will be easily converted into a free dragon as it comes out. Freddy, though, gets locked up by Terrify. Not really sure they have the damage to do, or rather pick up the kill. Dragon coming up in 5 seconds, in fact, using this opportunity to push up the lanes, and indeed pushing the mid lane.
Yep, and that's exactly what they're going to do. So it's a 3 versus 4 situation right now. Terrify is coming down from Yarrow. Intervention used on the support, not typically something you see. Is it going to be enough though? Yes, it will, as flashes come across from Impaler, I believe, there as well. So that is going to be the second mid tower falling, and Summoner Spells on top of it. So you got to say, SK Gaming in a commanding position right now, Pulse.
Indeed, Nitrix pushes in the top lane, but he's not going to be pushing as fast as Jinx. Jinx destroys towers with Pow, and in fact has already picked it up, gets excited, and they should be able to transition into a very easy Drake. Renekton has already recalled, goes into the top lane, and should be able to stop Nitrix before he even takes down the turret. Already itemizing that magic resist, picked up the Spirit Visage, and also the Mercury Tread, stopping Nitrix right in his tracks.
Yeah, so while we have a bit of a lull in the action, because that dragon is going down for free, the question is, will Impaler be caught for his troubles, because he has just walked over a ward. But I was going to ask you here, Pulse, currently 8.3k advantage in SK Gaming's hands at 17.5 minutes. How can Dignitas UK claw this game back? Because it's looking very one-sided at this point in the game.
Well, as we mentioned in the Champion Select messes, they're very, very similar when it comes to their playstyles. Get early game advantages, snowball, and create huge momentum plays, and then use that momentum to create power plays, and make sure that the enemy team can never come back into it because they're always too weak, no matter what situation they put them in. However, they have late game security. We actually said this last game, they had the Nasus that didn't work out for them, but this time they have the Vladimir, they also have the Kayle who scale very well, so does the Caitlyn. It's just a matter of can they hang on, and can they make sure that the shell doesn't get cracked, and make sure that they don't get caught in rotations, because that's something that both of these teams do very well. They rotate very quickly and very crisply, so that it's very easy to get picked up in your own jungle.
Yeah, that's a very good point, and I feel that's one of the determining factors so far in this game as to why SK Gaming is so far ahead. And as we speak about it, Yarrow gets caught from the grasp of Muse, Terrifies on Jez's, Reckoning comes in, they've got a lot of burst damage actually onto Riven. Are they going to chase this one down? Nope, they're not. And in doing so, Renekton goes back to top. But yeah, as you're saying, about being picked while rotating, it seems to be the way Dignitas UK have consistently died. The AD carry and their jungler have both died 3 times from just those positions. And you gotta say, a lot of it's down to the ward control of Nif, who's had a phenomenally strong game. Look at that jungle presence right now from SK Gaming. They have everything warded out.
Yeah, and not only are SK making very smart moves, but they're making moves that are very safe at the same time. Now they're pressuring people away from this top turret. It's the only inner turret remaining, the only other place that SK can go to, and by keeping the control of the top jungle, they can choke the vision away from Baron, again, so they can make another play. As they start poking this tower down, they can disengage very easily. Flame Chomp is very good at controlling the top lane as they start to siege. Ace in the Hole comes across, scratches Freddy on his backside, doesn't even care about that one messes, and it looks like it's going to rotate away. Very interesting.
Honestly, Freddy probably thought a mosquito just landed on him because nothing happened to his health bar. And that's going to be sad time for Samwise, who has just gone back, picked up his Infinity Edge. So it's a bit of a damage spike. But when you look at all of the sustain and tank items on the side of SK Gaming, it's still not going to be enough to first anyone down in a heartbeat. Svenskeren's tanky, Freddy's tanky, and even Zyra's looking pretty beefy at this point in the game compared to Caitlyn. So it's just not too good. As you said though, can they turtle in? They've not lost an inhib tower, although mid inhib tower is looking pretty vulnerable right now. If they can keep this going for the next 10-15 minutes, they have a glimmer of hope. But it's going to be a battle the whole way through.
Yeah, they actually realised we might as well go back. Riven has 2.8k in her back pocket. Jinx has 2.2k. They just need to back off, make sure that they push the waves in so that Dignitas can't make a counterplay. In fact, they're pushing down the mid lane to actually stop them from doing so. They've probably read the situation, but that's as much as they can do. They can't actually go out as if the whole team of SK get their items, so they have to make their play now. But Riven, seeing that they're in the mid lane, might as well carry on pushing.
Yeah, definitely, and at some point Dignitas UK are going to have to make a judgment call. Samwise has been assaulted and battered, and the ultimate coming through from Jinx, and so much burst as the AD carry disintegrates almost instantaneously. Female Plague has been used as well from Vladimir, landing on both Nif and Candy Panda, but again, it's just no damage. Impaler's going to be falling. 2 for 0 trade. Riven was not a part of this fight for quite a long time as well. Zap comes through from Candy Panda, not able to catch on to Nitrix, but still the damage has been done. 2 for 0 trade, 15-second respawn time on Caitlyn. They're going to get this tower.
And they didn't even finish off their items. Riven, now sitting on 3.2k, has the ability to pick up a whole new big item, but they're tower diving the double Nexus turret, maybe a little bit too deep.
Oh, Jez is way too deep there. I like the cojones, but still, did not pay off. The Terra fight was too strong from Fiddlesticks, and both towers shutting you down. So Svenskeren's going to be Vault Breakering away. Here comes the Crowstorm on top of the Strangle Thorns from Zyra. Yero's going down very quickly. That being said, though, Svenskeren and Nif are both low on hit points. They could try and turn this one back around. Flash from Candy Panda, who zaps back in to try and help her compadres, his compadres, I should say. And they're going to be pushing down the mid, but with 2 players very low and Freddy very big, they may think twice about pushing.
It worked out well for Nexon actually thinking about going back in again. Not quite the position you want to be in there, Freddy. However, it has meant that they forced Jez's back and has picked up not only a Brutalizer but pickaxe and has rounded out the rest of his build. Oh, Super Mega Death Rocket comes in from Red Buff, almost taking out Yero. And Dignitas not even able to pick up the middle turret. Actually, they're coming in for seconds. At least they pick up one objective.
They do assault and battery again though from Svenskeren, who gets terrified from Yero. The fear is so strong. Running away right now. Svenskeren going back in for seconds. He has the cavalry coming. Here comes Riven with the ultimate. Going to be crushing down Caitlyn. DX Alchemist does have intervention up, but doesn't have the mana to use it. And he'll be falling. Zap from Candy Panda. Slightly missing. But Impaler should be okay with the safeguard through the wall. Again though, damage has been done. 3 players have now fallen. And Lee Sin so low. Honestly, this is just SK Gaming at their finest.
Yes, indeed, and Dignitas have been completely scattered. Impaler stopped for being able to recall to his base. Still, Impaler drops low. In fact, Vi looking to still pick up the kill. It doesn't even matter. It's gotten to the stage when they're going to deal a lethal blow regardless. Yeah,
Nitrix comes out the Sanguine Pool to meet his demise courtesy of Jez's. In fact, he should be okay because of the safeguard from Impaler, but they pick up the second inhibitor regardless. Going to back away right now and get lots of items. How much gold do they actually have? 2 players, well, 3.3k to Candy Panda and 1.6 to Renekton. So they're going to be coming back really strong.
Yeah, SK, all they need to do is recall, pick up their buffs, maybe pressure Baron, but even at this stage, Messers, they can win a 5 versus team fight, 5 versus 5 team fight, I should say, in any scenario that they go for. So Dignitas, their last play is just to barrel down the mid lane and hope to God that they can try and outplay SK Gaming.
Yes, indeed. So Candy Panda, with that 3,000 gold, finished off Berserker Greaves and a Last Whisper straight up. So going back into teamfight is going to be popping down all that armor on the side of Dignitas UK. And once she starts to get through the stacks of the minigun as well, it's just going to be bad news. Svenskeren has been caught from Impaler, but now they're going to be turning this one back around. Strangle Thorns on top of Nitrix and also Impaler. They both managed to dodge out of that one. Nitrix now being chased from Renekton. Here comes the assault battery again, and Nitrix will be falling as the surrender vote comes in from Dignitas UK. Your winners today are going to be SK Gaming, taking the semi-finals at US Challenger Series number 15, 2-1.
Oh man, SK Gaming and their new lineup looking incredibly strong. And to note that Dignitas took out the reigning champions of Copenhagen Wolves, winning 7 series on the bounce. So it's not like Dignitas are a weak team at all. I actually called them winning this series. So SK will be progressing into the finals against TCM.
They will be, and that will be a mouth-watering affair. Like honestly, Pulse, TCM recently have been amazing. I'm kind of lost for words because the prospects of SK Gaming going up against TCM in the finals, I feel that's going to be a super close best of 5. I think it could go right down to the 5th game. Absolutely.
TCM, of course, took out Meet Your Makers yesterday in a 2-0 victory, so looking to be on form as a team. So, as for closing